Hello, dear ones. Father Peter John coming to you from All Saints Orthodox Church and the St. George Pavilion in Bloomington, Indiana. Christ is in our midst. Today I want to talk about Abba Bessarion again. This is day number 3 of speaking of him. I like telling these little short stories about his life. He's just a simple, wonderful monk who lived in a cave, tonsured by St. Anthony the Great and under the spiritual tutelage of Abba Macarius the Great of Egypt. So one day he's in his cell and he's praying, and there's a father who lives in Egypt who has a son that is a paralytic. He couldn't walk. So the father took the son up on his shoulders and carried him through the desert to go to the cell of Abba Bessarion. God bless that father. That's what fathers do. They carry their sons to Christ, their children. They bring them. They do whatever it takes to bring their children to the Lord and to his servants. So, this is what happens. He carries his son through the desert. We can't even imagine what that must have been like. How hot it was if this was during the day. How cold it was if it was during the night. We can only speculate. All we know is that there's this father carrying his son, who's a paralytic, on his shoulders. And he comes to the cell of Abba Bessarion. And what he does is actually, it's a little funny. It's like yesterday's story. You know, sometimes we say God works in mysterious ways, and sometimes he uses mysterious means or unexpected means in order to bring about a miracle. Well, today was similar in that this father, knew that sometimes Abba Bessarion, if he was wrapped in prayer, it might be days before he would come out to see a visitor. He would just be wrapped in prayer. And so he didn't even hear anybody for days on end. And so here he is then, Abba Bessarion is in his cell, and the father brings the son and he lays him down at the door of the cell. And then the father takes off running and hides behind a big rock somewhere off in the desert, where he can still see what's going on, but where Abba Bessarion cannot see him. So the son begins to wail and weep. He's obviously upset. He's probably confused. Why did my dad leave me here? What is going on? So he's just crying and he's wailing out here. And Abba Bessarion comes out and says, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" And he said, "I'm a paralytic. I cannot walk. And my father, he carried me out here on his shoulders and he brought me here and he laid me down and then he took off running and I don't know what to do and so I'm weeping." And so Abba Bessarion, he's so practical. He says, "Hurry, get up, run after him and overtake him then. Go, boy." And the boy gets up and he runs off into the desert and he finds his father and they embrace and they rejoice and then they go home. Abba Bessarion, the great of the desert, another example of his faithfulness to Christ and of Christ honoring the faithfulness of his servants. Christ is in our midst. He is and ever shall be.